before. Thank you for coming back. So now the first thing to do is to cut the material we are to use for the wet pocket in the 4 1 2 3 4. So now the wideness of these pieces is 3 inches. That's 3 inches. Then the length is 10 inches. The length should be 10 inches. Then the folding now, the folding is 0.5. After you have applied the gum stay like a 1.5, then you fold the side like a 0.5. That's the wideness. So that is how to fold the edit 0.5. Do it in all the 4 pieces. Then the material itself, which is the front panel of the trouser, you have to apply fussing on it, the lightest one, or you apply ST on it. So the wideness of this one now will be 3 inches. 3 inches for the wideness. Then the length will be 12 inches. The length will be 12 inches. Apply it both on both sides. So now let's mark the pocket line now. So I advise you to watch the video to the end so that you not miss any part of the training, as this, I believe this a video will go a long way in adding to your knowledge. So that's 1.5. Then mark 1.5 here as well, 1.5 and then 1.5. So you mark the opening of the pockets, which is 7 inches. I'm using 7 inches for here, and you mark 1.5 as well. Then you roll it straight down. So now to transfer this on the other side, now look at what I will do to transfer this on the other side. So after you have a mark it on the one side, then you place the other side on it, set all the edge, and then bang it so that the chalk will transfer on the other side, so that you'll be able to, you don't need to be measuring it on this side again, and it will fall on the same line. So then just follow the chalk on it and then you roll it straight like that. So now the next thing to do now is to cut the pockets, the material we have to use for the pockets. So now the material we have to use for the pockets, the wideness of the material, that's the flap. Then the wideness of the material will be 7 inches. The wideness now will be 7 inches. That's the wideness. Then the length I'm using for this is 14 inches. It's 14 inches. So now it is in 2 pieces. It's in 2 pieces for the 2 sides. Then I've also shaped the down part. So now you will place the pieces we cut on this line straight like this. If you want to see a comprehensive video on how to sew a wet pocket, which I take you through the easiest, simplest, and then the best way to achieve a perfect wet pocket, so check the link to the video in the bio on this description box. You will see the video on that. So you stitch the middle of that 0.5, which we bend the middle, not the tip. So I'll make sure that that line is straight. Then you stitch it straight. Stitch the middle of that bending. The middle we fold the middle. So make sure that you are stitching the middle now. So now when you get to this edge, you reverse. Now you reinforce it and make sure that that line is straight. Make sure that the 2 points is straight. This one is no longer than the other side. So you cut it like this and then split it into 2. Split it into 2. Please, this place is very, very, very important. Make sure that as you are notching here, is not exceeding the stitches. So make sure you notch at the tip of that stitches, so that the wet pockets will not be too wide, at least it will not tear. So before you get to the extreme, you shape your hand, you bend the hand, you slant the cutting a bit so that you'll be able to stitch it on the back. Then you turn it inside like this. After you turn it inside, then you put this one in, put it in, then the other side as well, you pull it inside also. Then that's it. You can see how neat it is. You don't need to be going to do ironing again, because with this method, it has given us a result already, and the line is straight. So you don't need to be using iron to bend it here again, because we have already do the folding before fixing it to the material. So you reinforce here and turn, so all the angles down straight round, so all the 4 edge round. When you get here, then you stitch it as well. You reinforce here and make sure that that line is straight. Then you stitch it down a bit before you continue on the other side here also. So now I will do the same thing on the other side also. That is it. You can see it. You can see that you don't need to be doing the ironing again. So now let's do it on the other side again for better understanding. So now place it on and start from that point we marked. Stitch it straight down to that marking, then turn it to the other side, and then you place the second one on the side and make sure that that line is straight. That is, one is no longer than the other, and then you stitch it straight down. You reinforce here, then you cut the thread. You can see that that line is straight. The line here is also straight. That is, one is no longer than the other. So then you open it. So there are two methods in which you can use on the pocket for this one. So I will be showing you that at the end of this video for you to be able to use any of the two. Then you notch here also. Make sure that the notching is not exceeding the place you stitch. When you're about to get to the edge, you stop and you slant it like this. You can see this is a bit clearer. So you slant it like this. After you have notched all the angles, then you turn it inside. Turn it inside, and then you set it. So this illustration is a complete illustration on how to stitch a pant with a stripe on the side and then a beltless one. So if this is the first time you are checking on this channel, I advise you to stick with the channel and hit the subscribe button, and then you turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I drop the continuation of the video. A lot of people have been asking me how to stitch a stripe on the side of the trouser of the pants, but this video is a comprehensive one, but I'm just dropping it a bit by bit so that it will not be too cumbersome for us to understand. So now, after you have a stitch here, the next thing to do is to fix the pockets, the main pockets on the trouser. So after you've done all the edge round, don't forget to stitch this down side. This is the down side now. Don't forget to stitch it so that you'll be able to use it to hold the edge, at least the two edge together. So that is it. You can see it. So the next thing to do now is to do the ironing, is to iron it and then make it relax. Yeah, this is it. After I've ironed it, this is the back. So now you have to fix the pockets on it. You have to fix the pockets. So please look at the way I place the pocket very well. Look at the way I place it. You can see that that edge is equal at the upper part. It's equal with the trouser, not with the material. So I think I'll need to cut this side. Let me cut this side so that let me cut the red. Cut the pieces so that it will be very close to the main body. So you reduce the size, that wideness now, you reduce it, cut like a 1 inch out of it and let it remain very close to the pockets. So now just place it on it again. You place it on it and you set it with the upper part, with the main pants, the main trouser, the main panel, not with the pieces now, not with the wet pockets now. Let it be equal on the edge and you stitch it straight down. This is the inner side. Then after you stitch here now, then you turn it to your side and you place it on it like this. Place it on it like this. So now you have to set it and make it equal. So you can now measure it, whether it gives you what is okay or not. So now on that edge now, so don't make it too closer to the front, so that you'll be able to fix the zipper on it. Then you can just trim it a bit. And the next thing to do now is to fix the pocket flap on the material, so that you'll be able to use it to cover the white that is showing. That's the facing. Use the facing to cover it, so that white will not be showing again. So you place the facing like this and bend the edge. Stitch it straight down. Make sure you hold the material firmly so that it will not be squeezing. Bend the edge like this also. If you weave the material, you don't necessarily need to be folding the tip, but I don't bend mine. I normally fold the edge, so that I think that will be much neater than weaving the edge. So now, after you have done that, you place it on it again and you set all the angles. Make sure that it's relaxed. Set all the angles, then you turn it like this and stitch it very close to the white line, and that is it. That is it. So now what you need to do now, you need to stitch the upper parts, and don't start from that tip. Stitch the tip to hold it, and that is it. Then this is the main one now. So now you place your hand down and change the thread to the white. So then you turn like this, and you bend here. So here now you don't turn it inside the way we normally do the normal pockets. You don't do this one like that. So the only thing you can do here now is to weave the down parts, or you use a ribbon to bias to bend the down part. So now let me use bias for this one, but on the other side I don't use a bias. On the other side I will weave the other one. So it starts from the side that we show outside. That is the place you should stitch it from, so that it will be very neat and be able to see the outside of what you are stitching. So now stitch it all through. Make sure you set it very well. It may be a little bit difficult to do, but just take your time to fix the bias on it, because this part of the thing that will make your work to look more professional and then very beautiful. So if you think that you can't use this, you don't want to use this method, you can easily weave the edge. So just cut it here and then bend it to make the tip to be very neat, and then you reinforce it, and that is all. Yep. So this edge now, that straight line on that edge, you will have to weave it. Yes, you have to weave that side. So that is it. So now you turn it. So this place now, you trim it and make it very close to the pocket, that is to the wet line. Then you weave that side. So now that is it, and that is all about how to fix the wet pocket on a trouser. So the first thing you have to do is to first stitch the dart on the trouser, the back dart on the trouser. So and this dart is you hold it by half, and then you stitch it straight down like a 3.5. So let me do the same thing on the other side. So if you don't know how we cut this pants, please help me please check the video, the link to the video on the description box below. So you measure 3.5 and then you stitch it straight down. Make sure that the stitches come sharp, that is not bending, so that when you open it like this, it will lay very well. When you iron it, it will lay, and you iron it out like this. Even without ironing, you can see that it's relaxed very well. So what you have to do now is to stitch both back and the front together. Place the front down and then you place the back on it. Place the back on it. So you stitch it with ½ inch. continue. So this is the material now. I've already joined the side. If you have been following this training, you'll have known how we stitch this side and the way how the process we use in stitching the darts at the back as well. So this is the back. I've already gummed the paper stay on it. You join the paper stay on the back, and that's where the dart ended. So on that point is the place where we draw our wet pocket line. On that place where the dart ended, that is the point where we roll the line on the back for the back pocket. So place the tape rule like that, and you roll it. So the wideness of this back pocket is 5 inches because it's just a medium size, average size of a trouser. So after you have done this, then you place the second back on it, and then you bang it like this so that this will reflect on the other side and it will fall on the same line. So after you have done this, the next thing to do now is to roll it on the other side. And then this is the back pocket. This is the material we are using for the wet pocket. I've already cut it, and then I've gummed it as well. I've gummed the stay on it. The wideness is 3 inches, and the gum stay I use on it is 1 inches. Then I bend the 1 inch with ½ inches. I bend it with ½ inch. I do the same thing on the second one as well. And if you are doing that for the two side now, it will be 4 pieces if you are doing it on the two. But on this illustration, I'm doing it on this first pocket now. So on the center of this folding now, you have to roll quarter on it on the side of the folding, so you can see it. So roll quarter on it. So the center of the folding, that is where the rolling will fall on. Then you mark 5 inches, which we mark as the opening of the pocket. You mark 5 inches here as well, and make sure that it falls on the same line with the other one we first mark. So after you have done this, the next thing now is to fix it into the material. So now this is the material we are using for the back pocket. So the pieces we are using for the back pocket, this is it. That is it. The wideness of these pieces now, I normally use a taffeta, or you use a pocketing for the pocket of a trouser. So but mostly I prefer using a taffeta. So this is 8 inches, and then this is the length is 20 inches. So this is okay for an average trouser measurement. So then you notch the center like this. After you notch the center, then you place it down. You place the material down, and then you place the back pocket on it. So please, if you want to do this, you don't need to join the side before joining the back pocket to make it easier for you to stitch. So don't join the side before you join the back pocket, so that it will be very easy for you to sew. So now you place the center where we mark. Now you place it on the back pocket, and you make it longer. The back pocket, the material we place under it to be longer than the front, the side now, which will roll like a 1 inch upward. Then you can use office pin to hold here, or you stitch it like this just to tack the material for the pocket and the main bodies together. So you can either use office pin or you stitch it like this. The essence of this is just to hold the material. So after you have done this, the next thing to do now is to place this on it. So make sure that the line fall on the line we roll on the material before. After you have done this, then you stitch on the line we roll on that quarter we rolled before. You stitch on it, stitch it straight down, and then you reinforce it. So place the needle down, and then you turn it to the other side, and then make sure that this line now it's straight, that this one side is no longer than the other side. Make sure that the two lines, both the one at the upper part and the down part is equal. Make sure that the two are equal. So if one is longer than the other side, this thing may not straight. It may not straight. So when you turn it outside, you discover that the line on the wet pocket is not straight. So that's one of the things that normally cause the line not to straight. Then you turn it like this, and then you notch it. You cut it and to open the pocket mouth. So turn this like this, and then make sure that when you are cutting, you are not exceeding the where we stitch. The notching now is not longer than the place we stitch. Let it stop at exact place where the stitches ended. So do this on the two sides, and then you turn it inside like this. You turn the two inside. See the magic? So with this, you don't need to be doing the ironing again, because you have already folded the stem. You have already folded the tip of the material, so the line now will form by itself. So with this, you don't necessarily need to be using ironing on it again. You can see that this process is very easy. You can see that it's very easy and simple. So you stitch it like this, and then you turn it to the back, and then you stitch here as well. So when you get to this point, you turn it like this, so that for you to be able to stitch the tip of the other side, and make sure that you set it very well and make the line on the wet pocket to be straight. So this is part of the thing that shows your work as a professional work. So just cut it straight, let it closer, make it closer to the stitches now. After you have cut this, so the essence of cutting this is to make the folding to be a little bit lighter, so that it will not be too thick when you are turning it inside, so that whenever the person is wearing the clothes, it will not be giving the person making it difficult for the person to sit down on it. So that's, you just stitch here, the next thing you can do now is to cut the excess we have at the upper parts and make it remain like a 1 inch. That is the upper parts now. So then you turn this one on it, you turn the material on each other, and then you set it. Make sure that it's come up, and then you turn it a bit, so that for you to get the line where the opening will fall on. Follow this process, then you measure the length of the pocket. So this is 7 inches. 7 inches. Then you just notch here, and you notch the other side here as well. So now for us to get where the opening of the pocket will fall on, so that you can use the material to do the facing. You can see that this is black material, and it's not good to be reflecting outside. So we have to use another material, which will be the navy blue, the main material now, to do the facing on it. So then you have to chalk where the facing will fall on. So here now is the pocket mouth. That's the pocket mouth. So then you place another material on it. So the wideness of this material now will be like 8 inches. Then the length is a 4 inches. The wideness is a 8 inches. So then you place it on it like this. Stitch it all through. Please take your time to do this. It may be looking cumbersome or a bit difficult, but it's not. It's not. So just take your time to do it and follow the process. So make sure you watch to the end. Yeah, this is the material we use for the wet pocket, and then it's a single line wet pocket. So the first thing you have to do is to cut the material in a two. That's a, like say like 2.7 or 3 inches. Then the wideness will be like 8 inches. So then the gum stay, now apply the gum stay on it. That's add gum stay, let it be like 1.5 or 1 inch. Then the second side, now the wideness of this one as well will be like 3 inches or 2.7. Then the length as well, that so which will be 8 inches. Then you bend it into 0.7. You bend 0.7 after you have applied the gum stay of a wideness of a 2 inches. You bend it like a 0.7. Can you see that it's more than a half inch? It's more than half inch, like a 0.7, but not up to 1 inches, not up to 1 inch. Then make sure that this edge you trim it and you make it straight. Make sure you make it straight. So that is the material we are using for the two pockets. If you are doing it for two sides, you cut it in a 4 pieces. So the ear, now I've already joined this place. If you don't know how we did this, please check the link to how we arrive at this place in the description box below. So we have done a lot on this. So you put the darts here. We have already done how to put darts at the back of the trouser. Then here, now the wideness of this pocket is a 5 inches, and then you roll it like this. Then you apply paper stay at the back. Also you apply paper stay at the back. So now this is the front. Now then the material we are using for the pocket, this is the pocketing. Now you cut it in the length of this will be 20 inches, while the wideness will be 8 inches. So the wideness of this will be 8 inches. If you are doing it for the two sides, you make sure that you cut this one in 2 pieces, so you notch the center like this. On the other side, the type of pocket we put on the other side is a double line wet pocket, but on this second side of this trouser, we are putting a single line wet pocket. So I'm just putting the two so that you will understand the two method, how to do the two. So this is the center. Now get the center of the material and you place the material on it. Use office pin to hold here. You apply office pin on the other side so that you use it to hold the pocketing and the material together, and then you can as well stitch it here. And when you are stitching here, you don't start from this back, you still start from the side. You stop at the middle. You start from on the middle and you stop at the middle. This is just to hold the two materials together. So you can see that. So now the next thing to do now is to insert the material we cut for the pocket. So you place it on this edge and you stitch like a 0.2. Start from that pocket opening which we marked before. You stitch a 0.2, stitch 0.2, stitch it straight down, and when you get here, you reinforce it and make sure that you do not stitch more than the line. You can see that. So what I have left now is a 0.5. So what I have left now is a 0.2 and this is a 0.5. So you place the second one on it like this, and you place the rule on it here, and you place the needle down on where you have a 0.5, where you have 0.5, and make sure that that side is straight, and you stitch it straight down. So make sure that you stop at the same level with the other side. Make sure that one line is no longer than the other side. So this is it. The next thing to do now is to notch the material. You can see that what I have here is a 0.5. What I have here is a 0.5 as well, because this place now will cover this hole here. So that is why the two sides must be equal. Whatever you have on the hole must be equal with whatever you have remain as the down part after you have a stitched 0.2 from it. So you notch it like this. After you have a notch it like this, then you do what? You open here and make sure that the notching is not exceeding the stitches. Make sure that where you notch is not more than the place you stitch initially. So you do that on both sides. You notch here also, and when you're about to get to the edge, you stop, and then you open here, and then you notch it to that point. So make sure that you are not notching more than where the stitches ended, so that you will have a perfect finishing. So you turn it inside like this. First turn the one at the upper part, and then you turn the one at the lower side as well. So please, if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, help me hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I drop an amazing video like this again. Can you see the magic? We have already done a lot, so this is a step-by-step guide which I'm giving you on how to sew a perfect fitting beltless trouser. So you can see the results without ironing it, without doing any ironing. You can see that the material lay by itself without forcing it to give us what we need. So you can see it. So now you stitch the edge and then you cut it. You turn to the other side as well. Remove the office pin and then you stitch the other side here as well. So make sure that you are not stitching the main material. We are only stitching the place we notch, that is the excess that come out from where we notch. So you place it down and then you reinforce like that. So now after you do this, then you have to cut the excess on the material. So voila, that is it. So you have to cut the excess here now, cut this one, so that when you turn it, the material will not be too thick on that side, so that it will not be inconvenient the person that's wearing the dress. So you cut it like this and then you turn it to the back. Then you have to stitch this place. You turn the one at the upper part, you fold it up and then you stitch this one. Make sure that you turn this side, then you run it through it like this, then you cut. Make sure you are cutting all the threads so that your work will come out very neat. So after you have done this, the next thing is to create the pocket itself. So now you place it down like this. You can see my hand that is still coming out, so we have not yet created the hole for the pocket. So make sure that you watch this video to the end so that you will not miss any part of it. So there's an it where a lot of people normally make a slight error here, so I will explain how you can fix that here. So after you have done that, then you mark for where you want the pocket to reach. This is like a 7.5, so you fold it like 7.5, then you notch where it's ended. You can as well use office pin to hold it. Let me use office pin to hold it. You can as well use office pin to hold it so that you will know where the length of the trouser end. Then you make sure you turn it like this. After you have turned it like this, then you open it here. So this is where a lot of people normally get it wrong. So don't stitch here. So after you have turned it like this, some people may not be able to stitch this place due to the reason that they may want to turn the material from inside. So you just open it like this and then you run it through it here. So some people normally use a button to hold here. So but once you stitch it like this, the material will be on the material, that is on the pocketing. So when you insert your hand like this, the material will not be pulling outside. That is because we have already stitched it inside, so it will not be pulling outside. So you don't need to be using a button to hold it down there. So just open it like this again and then you stitch it at the upper part. So here now we are only having two stitches which will show at the back. So, and this also beautify your work. So this is it. You can see the two lines. So now you turn it to the other side again. this buckle is being sold at the place they are selling a shoemaking material or the place they are selling a tailoring materials. You can see it in either of the two. So the length is a 7, while the breadth, the wideness is a 3 inches. So you can measure the wideness of this the space inside the buckle as well, and the space is a 1 inch, but you can make it a 0.7. So mark 0.7 on this material you cut, and you cut the material in a 4 pieces. So we need a 4, this type of this thing now, we need it to be 4 pieces. So because it will be on a both right and then the left side. So after you have a mark it like this, you roll it straight, you roll a 0.7, mark 0.7, mark 0.7 here as well, and then you roll it straight. Once you roll it straight, mark 1 inch upward, and then you extend it. You extend the line, and then you give it a shape. Mark the center here, and then you give it a nice shape, like a 0.2 outside, a 0.2 outside on this side as well. Then you roll it straight on this side as well to give it a V shape. So now just use free hand to make this curve. Now this is how to get the perfect shape for this type of the belt we are using for the buckle. So, and to be in a 2, so this in a 2 piece. So this for one trouser like this, and then you bang it like that for this thing to reflect on the other side. So after it has reflected on the other side, then use chalk to trace the line on the other one again. So then you stitch it on the machine. So make sure you follow the line all through. Make sure that the line is very straight. So when you get to this level now, don't stitch it, don't close the stitches. Leave a little space like this. That is the place we pull out the material. So let's do it on the other one as well. So this is the back. So you place it on the other side. So this thing that I'm doing now, it will be in a 4 pieces. So because we are using 2 on each side, and then we are doing it on both side. So this thing you have to prepare to be in a 4, but I'm just sewing a 2 on this so that this video will be very fast. Then you stitch it like this. When you get to this point, make sure you follow all the lines, and when you get to that point, just stop, reinforce it, and then you trim it out like this. You trim the edge of the material, and then you leave like a 0.2 while you are cutting the material. So just cut it all around like this. You cut it all around like this. I think all these scissors are not sharp enough. So cut it like around like this, and then leave like a 0.2 at the back of the stitches, and then you notch all the edge, notch this edge, notch that edge as well, so you can see it. So notch here also, notch this angle also. All the places you have an angle, make sure you notch it, so that when you are pulling out the material, the shape will come out very nice. So then you pull it outside like this. From that space we leave. Make sure you take your time to do this. It can be somehow time consuming, but it's worth it. So make sure you watch the video to the end without skipping any part of it, so that you'll be able to have a perfect and a basic knowledge on how to do this. So after you have turned it out like this, the next thing to do is to iron this thing out. Is to iron it out. So you cut the other one as well, and then you iron the two. So after I've ironed it, so this is how it looks. But you can see this one now, it's a little bit longer than it's wider than the band. It's wider than the band. So I've readjusted it and then make it a little bit smaller so that it will not extend on the band. So this is the place to place the buckle now. You place the buckle down like this, and then you make sure that the buckle is aligned on the side. That is the side joining. That is where the buckle will fall on. Then you insert the material. So this for the first one. That is the one that will be on the front, so you can see it. So you pull it from this angle, and then you draw it inside. You draw it inside, and then make sure you set the buckle to be on the line, that is on the joining. So I will explain better on the second side. Make sure you work both sides for you to have a very deep understanding on how to go about this. So then you cut the excess. Now you cut the excess, and then make sure that the belt, that is the material, is not, you are not placing it on the eyelet. It's not covering the eyelet, and then you are not to stitch the band yet. Then you open it like this. After you open it, then you place the machine on it. Don't forget that we have bent this one inside, so these stitches now will cover the two material. So we are just using this one to stitch it down. So you turn the material like this, then you can as well turn it way around. You can turn it around like this, so that you'll be able to stitch it easily. So this buckle can be somehow make it difficult for you to stitch, but make sure you open the material. That is, you are not stitching the band on the material, because we are still fixing the rope on that eyelet. So you are not stitching it together with the one at the back. So you have to open it like this, and then you stitch it on the edge. That is the tip of that material. That is the place you should stitch. So do that. Make sure you open it like this, and then you stitch it. Make sure you take your time to do this. It can be a little bit somehow time consuming, but the result is worth it. The result is worth it. So you stitch it like this, and when you get to that point, then you stop. You can see it. So take your time to do this, so that it will be very neat and then come out nice. So please, if this is the first time you are checking on this channel, please click on the subscribe button and then give me a thumbs up. Please click on the like button, so that a lot of people will be able to benefit and derive value in this video as well. So now you have to insert it from the back on this one, and then you turn it outside like this. Place it on back on it, and this is how this one will look. You can make the two to be equal, and then if you don't forget, we stitch this on the band as well. So if you don't know how we do all this, make sure you check the video in the description box below, or you watch the video to the end, so that will be able to see how we do all this. So you set it very well. After you set the material, the belt, you set it very well, then you open it up. So you are not stitching this one together. You have to open it like this, and then make sure you open the one on the down part also. So make sure you open it like this, and then you stitch the tip, stitch the edge. So the wideness of this buckle now, the wideness of this belt we are stitching on this band should be like as the same thing as the wideness of the band itself, or a little bit smaller than the band. So don't make the belt you are stitching to be wider than the band. Then you reinforce here, you turn it like this, and then you reinforce it like this. So, and that is all. Voila, that is it. So now the next thing to do is to stitch this belt loop now. But before we stitch that belt loop, we have to do this buckle. We have to make this, fix this buckle on the second side, because this buckle now, if the belt loop, if you stitch it like this without fixing the belt loop, we won't be able to sew the band, that is to stitch the band like this. You won't be able to stitch the band like this. So let's fix the second side, and this is it. So if you try to fix the belt loop like this, you may not be able to stitch the band on the dress. So now this is the second side, and this place will be very self-explanatory enough for you to understand. So the belt loop now will come a little bit at the back of that joining, so like 1 inch to that joining. That is the place you will fix the belt loop. I've already prepared this two belt loop, and then the length of this first one will be 4 inches. So cut it out like this. That's the one that will be on the front side, and then you place it from this first side, and then you turn it inside like this. Turn it inside like this. So that is it. So then you measure it, and the length will be like 3 inches. So place the buckle on the line, that is on the joining. Let the buckle fall on that joining of the side. So after you have fixed this, then you use machine to stitch the belt on the trouser. You can see that this is a little bit self-explanatory. I think you'll be able to understand this better. So that is part of the reason that I normally say don't skip any part of the training for you to understand better. So now then you continue. Make sure you stitch the tip of this belt. Make sure you stitch the tip and then take your time to do it, because if you didn't do it properly, the stitches, that is, the results will not come out very nice. So take your time to do this, and voila, that is all. So now we have to fix the second one. You can see this, you can see how neat it is. So now let's fix the second side. So the length of this one is 6 inches, and that is all what we are using. The length is 6 inches. So you pull it from the back like this, and then you insert it again like this, and then you draw it more closer, and then you measure here. You can see that this place, the explanation on this one, will be able to understand much better. So now after you have done this, then you measure it, and that is it. This place you leave it open like this. Then it is the belt loop that will hold this side. So just stitch it like this. Take your time to do this. Please don't rush, and make sure that the stitches is very nice and then come on the tip of that belt. So this is an additional advantage for you if you know how to sew this type of a trouser, because this is a type of a pants that is trending now, and it's fetch you a lot of money. So please, and if you want to join the training on how to sew a ready-made, that is a corporate trouser, a ready-made look-alike a trouser, please check the link in the description box below for you to be part of that training, so you can see how nice it is. And that is all. So the next thing to do now is to tack the belt loop. After you tack here like this, I've already done the first one. I've already stitched the belt loop on the first one. So now the next thing to do is to stitch the band. I've already done this first one, then I stop on this side. So now let me continue from here. So you stitch it all through like this. Make sure you set the band on the down part very well. So please, if you don't know how we did all this, make sure you check the link in the description box below, or you click on the subscribe button for you to watch this video step by step. So it's very easy to do. I've explained in details so that you'll be able to understand better. So please click on the subscribe button for you to be part of a noble family. And as you can see, that is it. That is it. And then now you can now place the belt loop on it to hold it down. And then I want to make a shout out to some of my subscribers, as I normally do. And today's shout out goes to Nafisat Zubair. Thank you so very much. So please check the link on how to cut a neckline on the description box. And then the same thing goes to Jane Amarachi. You can also check how to cut a neckline on the description box below. Olushaya Allison, thank you so very much, brother. I really appreciate your comments. So you can also be the next person that will get my shout out. All you need to do is to click on the subscribe button, and then you drop a comment for me so that I can give you a shout out in my next video. And voila, this is the result of what we have been doing. You can see it. So if you want to remove the belt now, this is how to do that. And please, if you derive any value in this video, give me a thumbs up. Please help me click on the like button so that a lot of people will be able to benefit from this video. Till the next time that I will give you another